Hello and welcome back to Prehistoric Companions. My name's Dylan Schultz. I'm a reptile keeper, 5th grade math and science teacher, an artist, trying to be a social media influencer. Several months ago I upgraded my milk snake Looney into a 20-gallon front opening enclosure, but I honestly think she's even still a little too big for that. So we're gonna upgrade her again. I've been working on this 40-gallon enclosure, which I think will be a perfect size for her for the rest of her life. It's got lots of areas for her to hide, lots of things for her to interact with. Working on this new tank for about 2.5, almost 3 months. A little bit here, a little bit there. It's been a little bit of a process, but, and you know I'm still not done now that I think about it. But we're gonna go ahead and show you guys what we got going on with this new tank enclosure today. Show you the materials I use, roughly about how much everything cost. Whole process, so let's go ahead and dive in. Here's the progress so far. So far we have 2 trees in the making with thick trunks and branches protruding that Looney will be able to slither all over. I have a base where my Mayan temple will rest. I need to silicone it in and hold it in place, let that cure, and then level this top area with grout so that I can start layering my bricks and building the temple. There's like a little tunnel right here where she will be able to slither down or up from the cave below. So all of this will be closed in under here with cave, and I have some like branches that are really smooth, some like driftwood that'll look cool, like branches protruding from the ceiling of the cave onto the floor below. And then we have her water area. We have some large flat stone that she could just bask on, and then there's a small pond area that's gonna have a waterfall. I started putting some PVC sheet together to build like an armature for me to start layering some rocks and things to create a water feature in here with some moving water. Then I got a big old pile of bricks. I used my clay that I make for all of my projects and then paint it all black and then layer it with some lighter kind of color. This was like a brown gray, so it gives it kind of this aged rock stony kind of look. So we'll use those for the temple build. Eco Protect, Eco Poly Finish and Sealer, Biopolyurethane, no redless toxins, seals, preserves, protects, scratch, UV, and chemical resistant, satin, non-yellowing, interior, exterior. I've coated all my bricks that I'm going to use for my temple using this Eco Protect polyurethane. So I had to take out the PVC sheet filter box because I used the wrong kind of silicone. I had to order some aquarium silicone so that I don't have any issues with anything later on down the road. I want to make sure I'm using the right stuff. But we've got lots of foam, everything all carved. I've started laying down the silicone and patting on some sphagnum moss and eco earth. I've got the sanded grout up here all sealed as well. Really just want to coat all that silicone on there real thick and then really pack all that eco earth in there and smash it all in. Then next I'm going to build up the walls using more of my special clay formula and then layering each level of bricks. Creating some windows on each side here and then a door entryway here. I have a removable lid so that I could access Looney from above if I ever needed to. I just created a lip like this so that the lid just sits right on top of there just like that. Boom. So she'll be able to slither up here on this third level. She'll be inside the temple if she wants to. She has a hole in here that she could slither down into the warm hide area down here in her cave. She'll have an exit way here, one on the side here, one on the side here, and then she even has a cave here that I built. I figured I'd purpose this one as her humid hide that she can hide under there. I'll just load it up with sphagnum moss under there and keep this area particularly moist. I need to go in with a little bit more resin and sand mixture and mix some children's play sand with some food safe and aquarium safe resin. Just kind of packing in an area where there's foam exposed or silicone. Try to give it like a real natural kind of look. And then it seals everything up real nice. Feature, I got my aquarium safe silicone. I got the filter box all siliconed in there. Something I forgot to do was run about 1.5 inches in diameter PVC pipe through this foam here so that the cord ain't like sticking out over the structure here. So if you run some PVC pipe there, it's enough to feed the cable through and hide the wire, disguise it into the environment as much as it can. So I gotta go back and do that. But the filter comes out nice and easy. You gotta kind of put it at an angle and then finesse it a little bit. Not the easiest to get out, but it just pops right back in there, twist it, boom. So next I'm gonna see what kind of slate rock that I have and start creating the waterfall structure and hopefully get to a point where I can put some water in here and test it and start seeing how the flow of water will occur. And then I still don't know how I'm going to cover up the rest of the glass there, so that will be determined when I get to that point. Give you guys a look at what it looks like underneath the tank. So here's one of the hides. I got to do some siliconing and eco-earthing in that little part of the foam. But this is what it looks like underneath the tank. You can see where I silicone that piece of plexi in there and then layered in some of the rocky formations inside the pond. Now this is the underside of the tank, so I don't need to do anything to cover up this. You won't see it anyways. But the sides of the tanks here, I'm going to paint all the sides and the back just black. Paint around the edge wherever the foam, that crease meets, so that it'll disguise all the foam and then you'll still be able to see through some parts of the side glass. So I currently have the tank flipped on its side, just doing some touch-up work with some foam, some pond foam, and I'm putting final touches, on the pond feature here. So I'm laying down my slate rock, and as you can see, we got some foam protruding. Once that foam fully cures, I'm going to carve the excess. I'll create some more of my resin sand mixture here that I just laid down a little layer of that and sprinkled some sand on top to give kind of a believable, nice sandy texture. Yeah, and I'll brush in like wherever all the foam is protruding, I'll remove the excess, and then I'll paint on some resin sand in those areas and give it kind of like a seamless look. I have a little planter down here. Now this species, what this tank is intended for, my Pueblan milk snake Looney. They're burrowing species, so I'm kind of already guessing that she's going to dig up her plants. I have one in that corner, and I have one in this corner. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try and plant some pothos in there and kind of really let this tank get situated, let the isopod, springtails, any live plants that I put in here kind of get really established before I put Looney in here. So yeah, once those roots grow in and grow through the bottom, maybe she won't uproot it, but once I put fresh plants in there, she's just going to dig them up. So I'd say we're probably about 85-90% complete here. Like I said, just got to do a little touch-up work. The silicone and the Eco-Earth, I'd say, is probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I really caked it on there because I really want this thing to last. When you carve the foam, the silicone that you'll lay on top of it, the foam, once you carve it, it's real porous, so that silicone will have more bite, more grab. It'll really seep into those pores, and hopefully it'll last a lot longer. Versus, you know, you see how shiny this new foam is. If I just laid silicone on top of that, I mean, it might last a couple years, I don't know, but I would think that it would just peel off. So I really want to carve it and get more jagged, rock-like features, more organic, natural-looking features. Then lay the silicone in there so it has, again, more bite, more grab. And then I layer it, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch, so pretty thick, caked on there so that it just is built to last, I hope. This is the Great Stuff Pond and Stone, no drip, directs water where you want it. Then I'm using this all-purpose silicone. This is 100% silicone. I researched somewhere that if it says number 1 up here in the corner clear, that's safe. If it says number 2, it has a bunch of additives and things that might be problematic in your paludarium or terrarium builds. So all the research that I've done says that, I mean, many people have used this specific product right here and haven't had any issues versus if you use stuff that's specifically aquarium silicone. Like, for example, this one here, this one's going to be more expensive versus this brand just because, ideally, this one is made for aquarium. Any animal products are always going to be priced more, like for, I don't know, when you go to a pet store, all reptile products are always way more expensive than if you go to a hardware store like light bulbs, heat lamps. They're going to be way more expensive at a pet store just because they say reptile on them versus if you go to Lowe's and just get a regular old heat bulb, as long as you know if it's the appropriate temperature and the right kind of setup for your specific reptile. But still, I probably wouldn't recommend using this specific one for a water feature. I did go ahead and still use my aquarium silicone specifically for my water feature. I'm just using this one to cake on all the land features, cover all the foam carving, to mush my Eco-Earth into there and create like a natural kind of looking landscape here with the sphagnum moss and the Eco-Earth and blah blah blah. is our progress so far. We have kind of the temple. Wasn't really quite the aesthetic or the look that I was going for, but you know, I still think it turned out pretty cool. So Looney can go in here, she can hide in there, she's got her warm hide under here, quite big hide under there, she could slither out some various holes and caves, like through here, there's some over here. She's got 2 entrances to her temple, she could slither in here and through the main entrance. In here there's a hole that goes from this level down to the lower level, so she can slither in and out of that. Down below here, I'll stuff this hide here with sphagnum moss, and this could be her human hide here, as well as have lots of area. I'll have thick, deep substrate all down here so she could burrow. This is more of a burrowing species. But I have seen her do a lot of climbing and interacting with other structures in her other environments, so I think she'll really utilize all the spacing here. I'm going to have a center tree, like a big tree that I've been working on with some branches and some leaves, so there will be a fake tree here. But then I have a planter here. I'll plant some pothos there, as well as on the other side of the tank, I have another planter there. So 2 pothos plants, vining plants. Got more shelves and structures that she could slither on top of at the top of the enclosure. And of course the water feature, which I think has turned out really neat. I essentially mixed resin, food and aquarium safe resin, and I mixed some play sand with it to create like a stony kind of background, as well as fill in a lot of the crevices with this slate stone here and the actual waterfall. I haven't tested it yet, but I doubt I'll have any leaking issues. I sealed this puppy good. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the video here today. This was quite a bit of work here, you guys. I'd have to say I've probably spent a solid at least $250 in silicone alone. All in all, put the extra materials, I mean, these tanks are already like $375 just for the tank. The lighting is, that's another 60, 70, 80 bucks. Slate stone, that was like 20 bucks. A lot of these stones I found outside and cleaned and treated them. A lot of these branches I found outside, heat treated those. So in all, I've probably actually spent an extra $300 just on the decor and everything in here to build something like this. So not cheap, but would I say it's worth it? Absolutely. And that's a wrap for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed today's enclosure build. If you guys have any cool custom tank designs, drop me a picture down in the comment section below. I'd love to see your designs. Hopefully I'll be inspired, and hopefully I've inspired you. That's the cool thing about keeping your not everyday cats and dogs something a little more unique. These snakes and lizards and reptiles is that you can put them up in a really cool enclosure. You know, if you can go bigger and you have the space, most definitely do so, but do some research. See what that animal needs in its environment, how it lives its life. Bring National Geographic into your living room. Get that large enclosure with some live plants and like rock formations and make it a very naturalistic, like try to mimic its natural environment. That's what it's all about. Like oftentimes watching my animals in their enclosures is more entertaining than just watching TV. But anyways, again, thank you guys for stopping by today. Let's keep on climbing. Continue to subscribe if you haven't. If you enjoy content about reptiles, art, science, anything that I just so happen to be getting myself into, I'll make a video about it. Hope you guys enjoy it. My name's Dylan Schultz, and me and all the prehistoric companions will see you in the next one.